A certificate to own a car in Singapore now costs $106,000. BBC News.
Here's a summary of the article.
The cost of a certificate to own a large family car in Singapore has jumped to a fresh record high of $146,002 Singapore dollars. Prospective car owners in Singapore must have a COE in order to be able to purchase a vehicle. With taxes and import duties, the system has made Singapore the most expensive country in the world to buy a car. The lowest CO for a car costs 104,000 Singapore dollars, which has almost tripled since 2020 when there was less demand for new cars during the pandemic. Alice Chang from Toyota Borneo Motors told the BBC that she had expected the surge in the cost of COs due to strong demand for new cars. For ordinary Singaporeans, with an average salary of about 70,000 Singapore dollars, the CO scheme means it can be difficult to afford a car. The number of new COs available depends on how many older cars are taken off the road.
This post received a score of 6,500, with an upvote ratio of 96%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Of all the nations on the planet, Singapore has to rank pretty low on the list of countries where driving a good way of getting around.
I had a car when I lived there and it was handy, but always felt so unnecessary. Even a taxi was dirt cheap and never amounted to the cost of car ownership.
It's probably cheaper to get a taxi license.
I am a car guy, but would not want to own a car if I lived in Singapore at all. It's probably the last place on earth you would want to drive. You can get from one end of the island to the other in 1 hour on public transport, and that's if you really pushed you wanted to go the furthest distance on the island.
It's also more expensive to maintain a car in the tropics.
Sobs in road salt.
Just out of curiosity, if you are living in a neighboring city outside Singapore, can you drive to Singapore without having to pay for this certificate?
Yes, but you need to pay daily tolls. And Singapore residents are not allowed to drive foreign cars within Singapore, so yeah, there's no loophole.
Makes sense. How about rental cars? Is it pretty common and affordable to rent a car for short-term use?
Yes, we now have companies like GetGo, traditional petrol cars, and Blue SG, electric, that you can rent out if you need it for a couple of hours. For a few days there are a couple of companies who do it too.
That's horrible. The government is keen to encourage residents to use the public transport system, which has been ranked as one of the best in the world. Okay, never mind. It's pretty okay.
I wonder how it compares to Japan and Hong Kong, both of which have best-in-class public transportation. MTR, the company that runs Hong Kong subways, is so good at what it does that foreign governments, I forget which ones, could be Australia, actually contract them to run their own trains. Edit, just looked it up. Apparently they operate trains and subways in parts of the UK, Australia, and Sweden.
It's extremely good. I hate buses and I was able to get around really well. Never had to wait long. Clean and comfortable. The MTR is excellent.
This isn't even to own the car, it's for the ability to drive it for 10 years. You'll need to fork out another $106,000, and rising, then. That's why the majority of cars on the streets, taxis included, are new. They wouldn't want to fork that much on a used car. Might as well sell it and get a new one. Reason being it's a small-ass island and they need to control the amount of cars on the street, which is already way too much even with this fee.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.